Hi everyone! Welcome to Tea Time Tales. This is Miriam and we're here with another Write With Me Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about how to channel your inner critic. So grab your favorite hot drink and let's get going. The first thing we're going to talk about is don't overthink it. When you are critical of yourself, whichever your artist is, it's easy to just be lost in your thoughts, be lost in your head. Oftentimes, how you perceive your work is either very, very good or very, very bad. These extremes often are not the case, and it can be difficult to discern that when it's your own personal work. Oftentimes, our minds tend to lead towards the negative. You may be thinking that it's not good enough, it's not complex enough. It's easy to take anybody's little criticism either, oh, it's good, and then you're thinking,
are they just saying that because they want to make me feel better?
Or, I think that maybe this could be worked on a little bit, and then our mind goes, no, it's horrible, no! So, being mindful of overthinking and those extremes, they are very valid, but that doesn't mean that your work is what you immediately think it is. It is the number one cause of procrastination and writer's block, in my opinion. If I don't take care of my mental energy, which is essential for this type of marathon of writing a book, or even a short story, still, it's work. It is still mental work. Taking care of your mental energy is very essential if you're going to make it all the way from the beginning to the end of any writing project. If you don't manage that mental time, that rest, then you will burn out. If you take a couple of days or even a week of just no more writing for that period of time, that for me can save me months of work. Rather, writing procrastination and not knowing what to say and frustration, all because I'm overtaxing my brain worrying about something or trying to solve a puzzle that I don't currently have the energy to solve. So recognizing, okay, I'm starting to get tired, I should probably take a break. Could be a few minutes, could be a few days. It depends on how extreme it is. But recognizing that is so important to avoid burning out. And also channeling your inner critic, just containing your own anxiety about your piece, your own mental process within that boundary of how much energy you have, allows you to keep from going off the deep end when it comes to those crazy thoughts of, oh my gosh, I thought this was so good, but it's not, and now I have to start over. Just step away for a while, take a break, and then come back and look at it with a fresh pair of eyes. It's okay to summarize an idea. If you're having trouble writing a particular scene, just summarize what you want to happen and move on. That is one of the best ways to avoid getting writer's block and getting inside your own head. I used to do that. I used to be thinking that I could not move on until I figured out this scene and solved the problem. But that is the slamming your head into a wall method, and sometimes it works. But more often than not, it's just a lot of frustration, it's extremely slow, and extremely unproductive. Generally, if I'm having trouble with a scene, I don't want to write it. But I felt like I had to because that was my mentality. I had to write the scene before I could move on to the fun stuff. Well, if you have that mindset when writing any scene and you don't like it, but you're just barreling through it, that's gonna come off to your readers and they're gonna hear how you didn't want to write the piece. Additionally, when you do write scenes that relate to the one you're having trouble with, it can actually help you break past that problem because it forces you to think of that scene in different ways, look at it from a broader perspective, or maybe in some ways a narrower one, especially if it was pertaining to a particular character development and you didn't know, let's say you're trying to figure out this character's backstory and the scene is them telling everybody what their backstory is, but you have no clue what it is because you haven't gotten that far and you can't think of it. But if you continue to explore the character's personality, perhaps they love grass, and then they go on this huge tangent of how quirky and fun grass is. Well, now you might think, oh, well, maybe there was something in that person's childhood when they had a great memory inside a meadow when they were playing tag. So now with that information, you can build onto the character's backstory, which helps you solve that struggling you were having before when you couldn't come out with the ideas on the spot. That's why it's very important to summarize, keep going, and revisit later. Because oftentimes the solution to your problem solves itself as you continue to explore your characters and your world. You are the leader, not the henchman. A good leader will come alongside their workers and work with them, finding out the best solution for the particular instance and a direction in which to take the best action. A henchman is someone who follows. Oftentimes, the bad guy is really mean to the henchman, being like,
why am I talking like this? You're too short. Why is your back so round?
all these things are criticizing them. And you don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want to criticize yourself in a destructive way. So be the leader, because the story does not drive you. You drive the story. Meaning, if there's a particular scene that you liked, but it's not working out, then you can cut it. That is your choice, and it is important to utilize that power to decide what stays and what gets cut from any plot, any story, any character. Because if you don't do that, it will destroy the boundaries that you have created for your world and your characters, within which it becomes confusing and a fuzzy mess for you to try and sort out, as well as the reader. It's very confusing and it can be frustrating. So be the leader, not the henchman. A good leader will also listen to suggestions. Find 2 or 3 people you know you can trust to give an honest opinion on your writing piece. Someone who will give constructive criticism that is also detailed enough for you to withdraw valuable information. Someone who won't only say, oh, it was good. Well, that tells you about squat. Or someone who will only point out all the mistakes they think that you made. That's not helpful on either side of the spectrum. But someone who can both give positive feedback, but knows how to, alongside that positive feedback, give in suggestions for what may need changing or something that confused them, that person is like gold to you. That is who you need, because like I've said before, when you write and get in your own head, it is easy to miss things. But other people have other perspectives, and it's much easier to spot a logic gap or a confusing moment that made sense to you but doesn't to everyone else if you have those people to give you that opinion. Everyone will have different opinions, and it's still your choice. You still have the power to cut what you wish and to keep what you want. But oftentimes people will point out the same thing, and it helps give you a clue as to what should probably be reworked or even cut completely. Or perhaps even added to. You find 3 friends and they all wanted to know more about this particular character. Then explore that character. That feedback is invaluable and can save you years of work. When you write, you're not just writing for yourself, you also write for other people's enjoyment. So in order to know what they enjoy, gotta listen to it. But make sure, again, that it is a constructive criticism, not a destructive criticism. because those are worthless and will only hinder you along the way. It is not worth your time. In order to channel your inner critic, you have to take charge. And that means knowing when it's good enough. The words, "I'll finish it when it's good enough," is very misleading and can be destructive because it implies that good enough is a magical point in which you will find yourself content and just mysteriously it'll pop up and you'll see it and then you'll know your work is good enough. Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. With being a leader and being the person deciding what will stay and go, you're also the one who decides when your work is good enough, when it is ready. Only you can make that decision. But it will never come on like this little train car, just be a big banner and be like, "Hey, it's good enough." Yeah, that does not exist. That is why I believe so many stories never see the light of day, because there's so much angst about whether or not the story was good enough. Good enough. It's so sad because there are so many great stories we've never seen that someone has written and thought it was maybe okay, but not good enough to be published and to get out there. And then they sit in a drawer and may never be discovered. That's sad. And it is a book killer. So don't fall into that trap of good enough. You get to decide when it's good enough, when it's complete, and whether or not to publish your work at all. When writing, it's a step-by-step process. So it's important to celebrate the little victories. Yay! It could be publishing your book, writing your first draft, writing your first paragraph, finishing your first sentence. I know, a sentence may not seem like a lot, but trust me, it gotta start somewhere. And if you've begun, that is an achievement that's worth celebrating. If you don't celebrate those little victories, you'll get caught up in the huge task of completing your book, writing a series, writing a few chapters. It will become overwhelming. But that's why it's so important. Remember those little steps you took to get to where you are now. Every one of those is an accomplishment worth celebrating. I had to learn that along the way as I wrote my first book. And I oftentimes didn't take enough time to be thankful and content with my own skill level and what I had accomplished. In fact, there's a chapter in my book, Isla's Treasure, that is titled Little Victories, for that exact reason. In order to survive, they have to take little steps, and when they do, they celebrate. That's what keeps morale up, that's what keeps them going, and that's what can keep and will keep you going. I'll finish it someday. Just like good enough, it doesn't ever come. If you were given an essay, it's due next week, and you look your teacher in the eye and you say, "I'll get it done someday," or, "Yeah, I'll get it done after I do laundry, after I play my video game, after I sweep the floor, after I go for a walk," and you can just list whatever. Do you think that teacher will really believe you're gonna get it done? No, they're not gonna think that you're gonna get it done. If that is your self-talk, "I'll get it done someday," you will never publish. You will never finish whatever it was you started, especially writing, because writing is a choice. And what you've done when you say someday is you've chosen to say it's enough as an idea, and I am okay with it staying a floating idea in my head, one that will never see the light of day. If you're already okay with that, you will never keep going to publish, to write, to put in the work, because that was the goal that you've now set in your mind, one which you can reach without any effort. That's why it's dangerous to say, I'll get it done someday. I had the mentality of, I will finish. I will get it done. I set myself goals. I want to get it done in the next year, the next few months. I almost every time didn't meet the deadlines that I set for myself, but because I set those deadlines, I took note of my progress along the way when I came to the appointed deadline, or at least close to it. I looked back and I saw all the progress that I had finished, how much closer I was to publication, and then I set a new goal, another year. But I was always working on it. I really did want to get it done by the next year, by whatever deadline I set. And I was okay if I didn't make it to the deadline, but I still shot for it. That mentality of I will finish. I'm going to keep going. It doesn't matter if it takes a year, a few years, I will finish. That is what's going to get you to publication. That is the determination your readers are going to love enjoying and seeing through your own writing. But someday, if you don't believe that you will finish, you won't. So believe in yourself, because you can finish. Start today. We don't have a guaranteed day in our lives. Tomorrow is not here. Yesterday is gone. But we have right now. You can do it. If you choose to, you can do it. It doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter if you're 12 or 50. You can do it. Personal success cannot be measured by how many books you sell or how many you make. Personal success, when it comes to writing, is determined by your own self-talk. If you talk to yourself like you're a failure, you'll feel like a failure. If you talk to yourself like, I'm gonna make it, I did that, that was awesome, I am amazing, that is what's gonna get you through this. That is what's gonna keep you going when you are tempted to give up. You can choose what to tell yourself. This doesn't just apply to writing either. Life in general. Just keep going. You can do it. And telling yourself as much is what's going to get you to the finish line. It's what's going to push you farther than you ever dreamed you could go. And what can inspire not only you, but whoever reads your writing. You can do it. So get out there and get writing.